Monaco was super chaotic this year, while former F1 driver Marcus Ericsson claimed America's biggest race. You can now watch full 24-minute episodes of The Inside Line at our official home on unbeaten.com. Monaco was chaotic, with Red Bull racer Sergio Perez making the most of the disorder to take his third career win. But governing body the FIA has since blamed rain for the power outage that caused system and panel failures on the grid. The race took more than an hour to get underway, with rain causing the delayed start before a red flag was shown on the opening formation lap. But a power outage and lack of confidence in the start system operating, along with the weather, contributed to the subsequent delay extension. They could have started. Of course, there was a point afterwards that was torrential rain and the race would have been red flagged. But that's part of racing, said Haas's Kevin Magnussen. Monaco may have been the focus for F1 fans last weekend, but over the Atlantic, former Grand Prix driver Marcus Ericsson rocked the USA, with the Swede winning the 106th Indy 500. Ericsson started fifth on the grid from the second row and kept his nose clean from the start of the blue-ribboned event. As others smacked the barriers, including Rinus VeeKay, Callum Ilott, Romain Grosjean and Jimmy Johnson, who brought out the fifth of 6 caution periods during the race. Arrow McLaren SP driver Pato O'Ward was a star of the event, with the Mexican making a 3-wide pass for the lead following the third caution. Eriksen passed O'Ward, and then Felix Rosenqvist for the lead, setting him up for the win, but had to keep the McLaren behind him after a late race red flag for a final 2-lap showdown. To become the first Swede to win the greatest spectacle in racing since Kenny Brack in 1999.
So I knew the Husky chocolate car was fast enough, but it was still hard, you know. I had to do everything there in the end to keep them behind. But I can't believe it. I'm so happy.
Red Bull team principal Christian Horner has politicized the sport's $140 million budget cap, stating that 7 of the 10 F1 teams will probably need to miss the last 4 races to stay within it. F1's budget cap is now in its 2nd year of operation, but the teams are struggling with inflation and rising costs, especially freight, which Horner says has quadrupled and cannot be controlled. Some teams have backed a cap increase in line with inflation, but others see it as a top-team tactic to retain profligate spending habits. F1 is a different animal in that it's now an efficiency race, with teams having to evaluate every dollar they spend.
It's not like how much money you've got and how much you can make and how much you can produce. You need to be careful that you manage the development well with your parts you've got and what you can bring. It needs to be good bang for the buck before you introduce any change.
Governing body the FIA is yet to comment on a budget cap increase. Carlos Sainz has admitted he's still getting up to speed in the Ferrari, with the F175 too pointy for his liking, but refused to reveal more detail with the matter involving team secrets. Sainz is 33 points adrift of Scuderia teammate Charles Leclerc after just 7 races with no wins to his name. Care of crashes in Australia and Imola and an incident in Miami. But while Sainz says Leclerc is performing at a very high level, with an aggressive driving style, the Spaniard is keeping his head down to adapt both him and the car into the sweet spot. I'm having to think out of the box and drive out of the box, he said. And with this comes mistakes and learning things. McLaren technical director James Key has reflected on the squad's poor start to the 2022 season in Bahrain, in which it failed to make Q3 for the first time since Turkey 2020, blaming it on the perfect storm. McLaren was on an upward trajectory heading into F1's new era. But a brake duct issue and Daniel Ricciardo out with COVID-19 put the squad on the back foot into the opening round, said Key to F1's official podcast, Beyond the Grid.
So it was a perfect storm of situations where we were woefully underprepared. We had a problem to fix extremely urgently in a matter of days between the test and the race. And we hit a track where others had really got a lot more mileage than us. We hadn't even done a race distance.
Key, though, has been proud of how the team has responded since then, with a head-down approach, though he remembers how deflated he felt watching that opening qualifying session.
It's a really horrible feeling when you're there. You know, there's nothing more uncomfortable than sitting on the pit wall and qualifying and thinking we ain't going to make Q3 here. Guys, you know, we've got some work to do.
Former F1 Supremo Bernie Ecclestone was back in the news last week when the 91-year-old was caught in Brazil attempting to illegally carry a gun onto a private plane bound for Switzerland. Ecclestone, who controlled the sport with an iron fist until 2017, when it was sold to Liberty Media, had the LWC Camp .32 caliber pistol in his luggage, where it was discovered during an X-ray screening at Viracopos Airport in Campinas, near Sao Paulo. According to a police statement, Ecclestone admitted that he owned the gun but was not aware it was in his luggage. The Brit paid a $1,250 bail and his pistol was confiscated. Four-time F1 world champion Aston Martin Racing's Sebastian Vettel has become the first driver to publicly question the green credentials of the sport's turbo-hybrid power units. Vettel, who was recently part of a panel discussion on the BBC programme Question Time, had to defend the sport's mainstream reputation as a gas-guzzling series. And the German didn't hold back in his assessment of F1's power units and their ultimate benefit for society. How much do you transfer to the road, other than to stick a hybrid on the car, to the road car? Not much, he said. F1 is en route to a zero-carbon future, using hybrid technology and an increasing focus on sustainable or e-fuels from 2026 onwards. But while Vettel said the engineering was fascinating, more should be done for real-world outcomes. All eyes will be on the beloved American track Watkins Glen in August, when 2007 F1 world champion Kimi Raikkonen returns to racing for his debut in the NASCAR Cup Series. The Iceman will be the first driver for Trackhouse Racing's international entry and will be a step up for him after his Truck Series and nationwide turned Xfinity Series experience in 2011. Raikkonen will test the number 91 Chevrolet Camaro ahead of the event, in what will be his first competitive run since F1. The Iceman retired from the sport at the end of last season and remains the last driver to win a world championship for Ferrari. Alpine junior Jack Doohan says that age is just a number in F1, as long as you're delivering performance on track. Doohan, son of five-time 500cc world champion Mick Doohan, is sixth in the F2 standings after Monaco. But while he's yet to score a victory in the feeder series and has just one podium to his name, the 19-year-old said to Australian Grand Prix podcast In the Fast Lane that his age won't be the limiting factor.
I think that people have this reality that think, oh, it needs to be as young as possible and you need to get in there, you know, as soon as possible, like Max, and in order to make it happen. But you know, Oscar's 21, but he won Formula 2 in his first year last year, and it's not really then thought about how old he is.
Doohan recently tested Alpine's A521 car in Qatar, his maiden outing in F1 machinery, and the experience was beneficial for his return to F2.
I think it really helps slow everything down and give me more time to think for what I'm doing now, which is, I think, a strength, as well as expanding my knowledge of Formula 1 car.
Thanks for watching. To stay up to speed on all things Formula One, make sure you hit the subscribe button.